Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do start, let us give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of things have happened. Now, Deku, he was doing quite a bit. Him and Barbara Gordon have retreated to the League of Shadows for safety. Barbara, during the dinner with the Joker, he did quite a lot. He messed with everyone's heads. He scared Batman. And right now, Barbara, she still lives in a bit of fear because of the Joker. The Joker whispered the code to her safe house into her own ear, and he knew how to get inside. He made things quite clear. And right now, him and Barbara, Deku and Barbara, the two, they left Gotham, and their absence has left a bit of a void. Without Batgirl or the Red Hood, without Batwoman, because she's still out of the picture right now, and without Harper or Duke, that only leaves Tim, Dick, and Bruce to deal with the Joker. Now, the Joker had a scheme recently, and that scheme was to turn Joe Chilled, the man who shot Bruce Wayne's parents, into the Joker. Now, that is say quite a bit. Joker succeeded in his task. The Bat family, they were underprepared for anything. The Joker is way too unpredictable. And with their numbers being this scarce, it was bad. Bruce might have made a wrong call. He didn't want Deku to go back to killing. He didn't want him to retreat back into an assassin mindset. But ironically, by pushing Deku away from Gotham, he drove him back into the arms of Ra's al Ghul. He drove him back into the life of an assassin. Deku, he has been killing and, well, basically doing what he needs to. He is doing a lot for the League right now. And he is showing he can carry the burden of two people, so Barbara doesn't have to. Barbara doesn't like killing. She doesn't know she can yet. And right now, Barbara, she has begun to tap into a lot more of her emotions. Talia al Ghul is antagonizing her, trying to piss her off, trying to see exactly if there's a killer buried under the surface for Barbara Gordon. And so far, Talia al Ghul, she's been succeeding. Now, we do currently cut to a room where Talia, she currently does get a walk at the edge of a circle, and she does talk about it. Right now, Deku and Barbara do both sit there, their hands on their knees and their legs folded, right now tucked straight. As Deku, very easily he could turn his legs the other way and jump backwards back onto his feet. Right now, that's the way they're sitting, their legs folded up to their butts. Now, Deku does currently sit there, and he has a blindfold on, and Barbara does sit the same way across from Deku. And the two, they do both have swords right in front of them. As Talia does gonna say it. Begin. Now, Deku and Barbara immediately reach out for their swords. As the moment Deku does grab his, he actually has to throw his hand down, him leaping onto his feet with speed. And Barbara, she actually does try to do something very similar. As the two do stand on their feet, and they do to wait. As Deku and Barbara, they're in a completely silent room, and the only thing that they can really hear is each other's footsteps. As right now, Talia, she's going to watch on. Somebody else is watching on, however, and they are quite intrigued to see how this will go. Now, Deku does a step forwards, and the moment Barbara does hear Deku shift his foot on the mat, there is actually a lunge towards herself. The two clashing blades, as right now they do actually fight each other. And this does start to go on. They clash, pull back, then going to throw out with the left, and right now they go back in. As they continue to clash, and Barbara and Deku, the two, they are trying to be careful. However, they're also trying to be accurate, trying to be effective. And that is where things, they do get a bit more tricky. Right now, Deku and Barbara, the two are locked in combat, and Talia does get a watch on. As there actually is Deku. Deku, whenever Barbara threw out the blade, he collided with it, him bringing his hand up and actually going to grab at the blade and throw his hand down, him actually grabbing at the hilt and going to pull it up. As Barbara actually tries to push back down, she's going to throw out her leg. Her smashing into Deku as Deku is going to drop his own sword. Him going to actually turn his body to the right and bring his hand back around. Him going to grab at Barbara's left leg and grab at the back of her leg. Him going to actually pull it up as right now Barbara, she doesn't actually go backwards onto the ground. Her letting go of her sword as she tried to bring her hands down and catch herself. And right now Deku, he does still somewhat stand there. Barbara going to roll over as she actually searches the floor for another weapon. Deku dropped his blade, and now Barbara, she's going to grab onto his as there is where Deku has her sword. The two actually going to stand back up and spin, as the two are both silent. Barbara is trying to be careful. Izuku is more experienced. He's better at this than her. He's got years of training, and this is definitely intriguing. Where is he? Where is he? Come on, Barbara. Come on. He's right in front of you. Or is he to your right? To your left, maybe? Don't let her get in your head. Izuku. Come on. She's to your left. Or to your right. Or is she right in front of you? Behind you, maybe? Or is she still even in the circle? Are you? Are you paying attention? Deku's just keeping his mouth quiet. And right now, Barbara's just staying there as well. As someone is going to walk into the room and interrupt the two's training. As we do actually have Ra's al Ghul. And the moment that has actually happened, the two do still stand there. As there's Otalia, does it express stop. Both the two are going to turn. And right now they're going to bring their hands up, grabbing at their blindfolds, pulling them up and seeing Ra's al Ghul. And the man, he actually is going to step into the room and talk about it. He'd like to speak to Izuku and talk to the boy. And Deku's going to turn and stare at Ra's al Ghul. Him going to lower down the weapon and put it on the ground. As Ra's al Ghul, he actually is going to bring his hand up, waving Deku over. And the two do go to currently leave. And Barbara is stuck there with Talia. As Talia does try to express to Talia does go to at least try to express to Barbara about a few things about her form, and even the way she was acting. It's very clear that she does still need to have proper swordsmanship training. However, she has definitely made improvements. Now, Deku and, well, Ra's al Ghul, I almost called him Talia for a second, the two do go step outside of the room. And Ra's, he is definitely intrigued to talk to Izuku. He wants to know exactly what he's been doing in the last few weeks. Because he's been going out on missions. And from what he can tell, Izuku, he's been highly effective. And busy. So, why exactly is that? It's for a number of reasons. Really. Tell me. I'm thinking about going back to Gotham. I need the cash, and I don't want Barbara to be involved. You're paying for the burden of her. It's not a burden. I see. So, what do you consider her to be to you? A lover? A friend? Someone that you just love to stop. Excuse me. Me and her are together. If this is about my relationship with your daughter and Miss Wilson, I can assure you, those relationships were, now you stop that. Those two have their own personal businesses, and their own personal quarrels with each other. The fact that they used to fight over you is still annoying. The fact that you're back, however, it does show great promise. So, have you talked with my daughter? I have. Why? And she has not told you anything yet. Anything? What do you mean? We have plans. Some things that we are doing. The information you've given us already has been helpful. And I can definitely say, the Court of Owls, we are getting a bit closer to finding their actual location. Then again, secret organizations, they are definitely hard to pin down. Known members especially. Everyone we do know of is killed or dead. And trying to track down their inner circles is definitely not fun. We can have informants tell us what we can. Dive into records that aren't kept on the internet. Dive into hard copies. And dive into records that have been either seemingly destroyed or outdated, misplaced. We search for any information that we can. However, I want to know exactly what you think is going on. I don't know. You're still preparing for a war. An eventuality. Understood. I see. Are you going to head back to Gotham? I feel like I have to. And what will you do once you get there? I... I'm going to kill Joker. You're going to go against the Bat, the great detective? Yes. But not as the Red Hood. As Izuku? Yes. As something else. Hmm? What do you mean? Bruce is stubborn. I'm well aware. I'm sure you are. But he's not an idiot. He knows I haven't been in Gotham for the last month, and I feel like a sudden return, or a new vigilante popping up, he might suspect me. Or he might suspect someone else. But I don't know. I have an idea, but Barbara is... She's not... I have a plan, but I don't know how well it can be executed. Because? Because Barbara would be the one who takes the shot. You've already killed two of them. I have. And I feel like if we go back to Gotham, it's only right that we start cleaning things up properly. Hmm. There it is. Excuse me? There it is. The drive. You see, I wished that was what I saw in The Great Detective. But it isn't. Bruce has a lot on his mind. A lot that he seemingly can't focus on. His main objective and goal is the mission and drive. He still follows those simple little rules he wrote decades ago. And I still follow rules I wrote centuries ago. You see, I've changed those rules. But there's still one core component that remains the same. Me. It doesn't seem like the detective understands that. As times change, you must also get suitable to change as well. I can understand that. Can you? Yes. Good. Now, have you talked to Slade? Or, well, Mr. Wilson? I have not seen him in a while. Where's he been? Hmm. I've heard he's been out on missions. He's been busy. But if you would like me to, I can call him up. I know he's wishing to chat with you, in particularly. Slade wants my attention? Yes, Mr. Wilson would like to speak to you. Talk to you. If you need to, talk to Rose. I'm sure she has all the information you need to know. Rachel Gould gonna turn and walk back into the room, telling Deku to stay here, because he would like to talk to Miss Gordon. And Deku just won't stand there. Deathstroke wants to talk to him? That's definitely weird. It's something, but... Interesting. Hello, Zuko. Deku gonna turn. Lady Shiva. Hi. I didn't hear you walk up. Were you listening the whole time? I was. I do have to say, I am quite proud of the man you've become. Haruna walk up, and Renner actually does a turn and lean against the wall, expressing, Izuku has become a very, very fine killer. Trained by Batman, raised by him, and then taught by the League. It definitely does say quite a bit. Most people aren't as fortunate to be in his position. So, there definitely is that. Though the bloodline is definitely a bit intriguing. Hmm? Bloodline. Yes. Now, Izuku, I wish to know, what exactly do you have plans for? Plans? Yes. Do you plan to try and take over the League? Try to go after Racial Ghoul? No. He's not my focus. I see. Well then, what about Talia? Is she your focus? I mean, you have conquered twice. What? Ah, it seems like you still don't understand my meaning. Now, Izuku, I'm going to make things quite clear. Haruka's going to lean off of the wall and step forwards, as she does actually lean in and whisper something directly into Deku's ear, as the door is going to open. And Deku just won't sit there with his blood running cold, as, right now, Bara's going to step out and see Shiva. Her leaning into Deku with her hand on his chest, and saying something to him. As Baro does a step forwards, Shiva is actually going to pull away, her expressing, he should understand. There will be consequences to that. Hmm? Izuku? Huh? Hey. Hey, Barbara. Are you alright? You look like you've seen a ghost. Um, I'm fine. I just... Fuck. What is it? It's... It's Dick. What? He's dead. Excuse me? Now, Barbara does a step forwards and asks Shiva, what the hell is she talking about? My. Miss Grayson, you should know. I've heard reports coming out of Gotham. Some say that Nightwing was struck down by the Joker, beaten to death. Quite a sad ending. That's all I have. If I have any more information, I'll contact you. And you can definitely pay for the information. Her gonna turn and walk away. And Deku does a turn to look directly at Ra's al Ghul. He wants to know what the hell she's talking about. He wants to know what the hell that means. And Ra's al Ghul, he does glare at Deku. He sees the anger, the expression, and, in the best way of saying it, he sees the madness. Is it popping back up again? Is it on the surface? Just below the skin? Maybe? And Deku, here's a turn. Right now, Barbara gonna walk behind him. As Deku, he heads back to his room and starts to pack up his gear. And right now, there actually is Barbara. Barbara stood there. She tried to think about what to do. Tried to focus on it. Tried to just keep her mind steady. It just didn't make sense. And right now, while Barbara, she stood there for a second in shock, trying to process the idea that Dick Grayson might be dead, there actually was Talia. Talia, she walked directly past Barbara. And Talia didn't make a remark. She was silent. She was focused. Barbara turning, as Talia al Ghul started to walk fast to a room. Now, Barbara turned and followed. She wanted to know exactly what the hell was going on. And the fact that Talia didn't make a remark or say anything, the fact that she just walked right past her as if she was invisible, that said quite a bit. She's done that only twice before. And once, she was in the presence of Izuku. She knows that Talia wanted to say something. She could feel it, see it. Talia al Ghul is definitely a strange one. a woman disconnected from her own emotions, and with the focus and drive of her father, trained to be that way. However, still human. Now, right now Barbara's gonna follow. Her trying to tail Miss Al Ghul. Now, Talia actually is gonna pick one in her presence. Her aware. And right now, she does feel like this will be the best thing to at least show the difference between her and Barbara Gordon. Now, we do actually have Talia, who does to walk into a room, and right now, she has to close the door behind her, her leaving it cracked open for Barbara to see. She wants Barbara to see. And right now, Barbara, she does step forwards, her walking up to the door and going to peek inside. She's trying to be careful. Talia's got to know that she's on her tail. But if that's the case, then why isn't she being private? Why isn't she being secretive? Why isn't she, Barbara, looking through the hole? And right now she's a watch. As Talia, she has to relax. Her going to actually release the stiffness in her shoulders and loosen up a bit. Her going to flex her hands before actually going to turn. Her going to walk over to a place out of view, and then there's a sound. It's muffled. It sounds like Barbara going to see Talia, who's going to walk back into view. Her going to sit down on a chair, as she's going to bring her hands up, expressing, "Shh, shh, it's okay, Damien. It's okay." Now, Talia does stare up, her looking up to the door, and Barbara Gordon isn't there. As right now, Barbara, she turned and ran off. There's no way. I mean, that's impossible. Now, Talia, she definitely had a smile on her face. Another way to mess with Miss Gordon. And that's it quite a bit to her. She'll enjoy that. But for right now, she has to take care of her precious baby. Now, we do actually have Deku. Deku, the idea of Dick Grayson being dead by the Joker's hands, that gave him everything he needed. And he currently is packing up all of his gear. However, fact is, he's still mad. He's still pissed off. The Joker turned him into his Robin. Then on Deku's mind, as currently he does actually bring up his hand and pull it back over his shoulder. Him turning, I'm going to walk out the door. And the moment he is going to walk through the door, Barbara, she was actually running to him. Her almost quite literally. Her going to stop in front of him and tell him. They need to have a conversation. What? We need to go back to Gotham. But I need to talk to you about something first. Talk to me about what? You don't know what I'm talking about? Not really, no. We need to go kill the Joker. Excuse me? Yeah, Barbara. We need to take out Joker now. Kill him. I can't believe I let Bruce fucking mess with my head this much. I knew what I needed to do. I knew exactly what needed to happen. But I can't let this go on. I'm going to kill him. If not me, then you. What? Barbara, they're going to turn and sit on the back. Him telling her. He knows that she still has nightmares. He knows that she still hates it. She knows that she's still not comfortable yet. He understands. He knows that she shakes whenever she sleeps. She still has the nightmares. He might not say anything about it, but he has them too. And she knows that much. They understand exactly what it is to be victims of that man. And he's done. There will not be another victim again. No one else will die. And the Joker, he'll go down. He's been reading reports in Gotham. And sadly, he's found out one thing. Joe Chill was kidnapped by the Joker and turned into another version. So that means that they have two to worry about. And pretty soon, there might be a third. Excuse me? Barbara, he went after Joe Chilled. He went after the man who murdered Bruce's parents. Who exactly do you think he'll go for next? You think he'll go for my dad? Yeah, I do. Joker wants a trinity. He wants there to be three Jokers. Always. I just, I feel it in my head. He said something to me once, and I just can't get it out. He wants there to be a tragedy. He wants there to be enough. He wants to push one of us over the edge. And I'll tell you, he's got me to worry about. Barbara Gordon, Deku stepping forwards, bringing his hands out, grabbing onto hers, telling her, will she help him kill the Joker? I I don't. Yes. Now, there's a stare on, and Barbara she's a bit more surprised. She said the words without hesitating. She didn't give them a thought. She just, Izuku, wait. Hmm? Barbara, what? Talia, she's, I don't know. I don't want to jump the gun on this. What? Jump the gun on what? Oh my god, you don't know. Know what? Now, Bardo's gonna say it out loud. And Deku, the moment he hear about it, his eyes widen. And right now Deku does a turn. Him walking down the hallway. And we do actually have Talia's room. Talia, she set the baby down for sleep. He's been rather cranky. And well, she doesn't want to have to deal with that. Someone has already been set to watch him, be around him. But then again, there's still this thing in her head. It's definitely an interesting phenomenon. Behavior of the species, maybe? Trying to analyze it and study it. It's different. It's a new feeling, emotion to explore. But at the same time, she's also concerned. Does it dull her professionality? Does it dull her from being the demon's daughter? And right now, Deku, he actually has to walk directly through the door. Her to turn her head and bring up her gun. As she's going to pull back the hammer, and then going to lower it when she does to see Deku. As Deku does a step in. Really, Talia? Hello, my beloved. Here to see our son? Now, Deku does a step in. And right now, Barbara, she's just staying outside the door. As Deku, here's a step inside, and then going to look down at the crib. Seeing the infant. Seeing his son. He looks a lot like you. I named him Damien. Believe it or not, almost a year old. What? I see you're still surprised. Yes. And I wasn't the only one. Talk to Rose. She definitely wants him to have siblings. Wait, what? I see it just finally clicked in your head. You're still in shock. That's what happens. Exactly, my dear beloved. Now, what are you going to do? Run? Hide? Or stay? You know, I've been doing fine without you. No responsibility needed. And I'll tell you something. I've definitely grown quite fond of him. Talia, you're insane. Insane, but caring. Now, weren't you leaving? I was. Go. Talia, why didn't you tell me about this? It never came up. It was not important to your mission. Not important to my... Talia, this is my, your son. I, go. Hmm? Her actually bring her hand up, and walking directly up to Izuku. Her bring it up to his face, telling him, he is a man of focus and dedication. He doesn't have time for this. She will raise him. She'll care for him. And she will make sure that he knows who his father is. Now, doesn't he have a job to do? Go out there and kill. Be a good man. Make himself the legend she'll tell her baby. And Deku does a turn. As Talia doesn't watch Deku go to leave. And Deku, he feels this pressure. I mean, it's just something to. He just. His thoughts are in a fucking daze. He feels like this is a mental flashbang. I mean, he can't see straight. He can't hear right for a second. And he just. He feels his stomach turning in his chest, his heart throbbing, and he knew. He felt something was off. He knew something wasn't right. Almost a year. Now, there's a turn. Him bolting in the hallway. And he has to see Rose. And he does confirm his suspicions. Now, Rose is definitely a lot more forward. A lot more, well, trying to get Deku to stay. She wants him to know. Stay right now, and things can definitely be interesting. They can be a family. A real family. Not the one he thinks he has with Bruce. And that is tell Deku everything. He wants to take his children, get them away from this place. Deku does have a few ideas. However, there's one problem. The grandson of Deathstroke and the grandson of Ra's al Ghul. Two very powerful men. And then there are their daughters, Talia al Ghul and Rose Wilson, the children's mothers. That will definitely cause a few problems. Deku couldn't run. Where would he go? Gotham? That place is a madhouse with the Joker. Where could he go? Metropolis? There's Superman. There's fucking Doomsday. There's Lex fucking Luthor. And where else? There's not really any safe place on this planet. And sadly, that's the truth. The best bet right now is to leave them here, where hardly anyone knows of their existence. Hardly anyone knows they exist. And hardly anyone knows he's connected to them. And Deku? That's a gut punch. He wants to figure this out. But right now, his head is swimming. And Talia knows this. However, Rose is trying to get Deku to go, to leave. She wants him to definitely be a murderer, an assassin. And she does even talk about it. Whenever he's done spilling the blood, whenever he's done taking a life, come to her. They will be together. They will definitely prosper. And they can't destroy it anymore. Eventually, one day, Deku, he will have to leave that life. Leave behind Batman. And he needs to remember, the League gave him a second chance. The League is his proper home. The Bat family, they just abandoned him. And Deku's gonna turn and walk away. Right now, he has a goal in mind, an objective. And trying to figure all this out right now, I mean, he needs to think logically. I mean, not think with emotions, but that's super challenging. And he feels like he's gonna puke. And Deku, whenever he does a walk out of the room, there actually is Barbara. Barbara tries to calm him down. However, Deku, he clearly is in a very, very strange state of mind. And the two, they eventually are able to leave. However, Talia Talia made things quite clear. She can raise Damien alone, and Rose made things quite clear. Come back to her. Stay with her. Be with her. And Deku, yeah, that's kind of what he gets for sticking his dick in crazy. Had to make the joke. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Anyways, now, with that being said, currently Deku, he is going to head out. And right now, there actually is back in Gotham with some new tech and new gear. The Red Hood, he's definitely in the back seats. However, right now, there's two new vigilantes in Gotham. There's two new vigilantes in this city. And Deku, he does stand there, as so does Barbara Gordon, as the Arkham Knight. And, well, the Arkham Knights, as it's called them, because I can't think of anything cool for Barbara right now as a name. Now, the Arkham Knights do stand there, and they get ready. Their plan to kill the Joker, it will come into fruition. It will happen. It's only just a matter of time. However, right now we do actually have Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne to sit there. He's worried about his son. He's worried as to whether or not he's even still alive. And that makes Bruce very angry. He tried to do what he could. He tried to help. And he failed. Not enough manpower. And that pisses him off. It makes him very, very angry. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.